Caballero, buenas tardes. Así es, hombres llenos de lo mejor en joyas y accesorios, joyas de moda.
In December 2024, I went on a photography trip to Lima, Peru. Also, I've got a new photography website, urbanfilmphotography.com. So if you like my photos, you can now buy high quality prints. Alright, thanks for joining me. We're going to have a look at some parts of Lima that tourists almost never go to. We're going to start with some black and white film photos I took, and then we're going to move on to some video. Alright, I hope you like it. Okay, before we get into some video, let's have a look at where I was on the map here. This is the central historical area. You can see this circle here is where my Airbnb was. It was quite close. I could walk all over the central historical area, which I did many times. And then if we expand a little bit, we can see that I also spent a lot of time to the south of where my Airbnb was. Walked up and down all of those streets. Now let's have a zoom out, and we can see that entire region where I spent all of my time really is just one small part of Lima. Here's the view from the window in my Airbnb. You can see it's a very urban area, which is exactly what I wanted. There are no fancy shopping malls here or expensive restaurants, nothing like that. Now we're outside of the building, down on the street, where we see lots of street art. This arrow is pointing at the actual building I was staying in. This building was right across the street, had a small tienda in it. Now a couple of doors down we see another interesting mural, and now we see lots of old beat up cars. I cannot get enough of cars like this, and when I see them I know I'm in the right part of town. At this point you're probably all wondering, why on earth would you want to stay in a part of town that looks like that? Well, as a photographer, this is fantastic. You know, life happens in the streets here in these South American cities, and these are the kind of streets where you want to be if you're going to see that.
llevando, señora. Y este pizzacaya se estamos vendiendo $10, mami. Precio de locura, precio de remate, señora. Y este pizzacaya $10, señor.
Llévate la cuestión, el confort y el sol, la noche, llévate la cuestión.
Ya llegaron los plátanos de cera, señora, mira, 2 soles 50 la mano que estamos ofertando, mire, plátano de cera, plátano orgánico de maduración, señor Jorge. 10 soles, 2 metros, 3 soles. ¿Para ponerle la arete uno solo o la arete va aparte?
Oh, me das el arete solo a mí.
Aparte.
El antioxidante, señora, llévate 8 porque el lactante se está llevando, mamita, venga, señora, llévate 8 por 10. 8 por 10, mamita.
As I said in the beginning of this video, this was a photography trip. I didn't go to Machu Picchu or Cusco or any other place like that. I was in Lima for the entire week and all I did every day was photography. Of course, I would love to see Machu Picchu and I will, maybe on my next trip. I don't know, but that's the nice thing about living here in Ecuador. I can go to Peru easily. It's only a 2-hour flight from here. This time I wanted to explore Lima and take photos of normal everyday city life. I didn't go to any tourist attractions. Okay, I did actually visit the Laco Museum with all the pre-Columbian artifacts and that was absolutely amazing, but that's the only thing I did. The rest of my time in Lima was spent walking and taking photos. So on the first day of a photography trip like this in a new city, I start walking around and exploring, and I find that probably half to 3/4 of the things I want to take photos of are in the shade, right? So I start to compile a list of all the streets and houses and buildings, neighborhoods, even specific cars that I want to come back to when the lighting is going to be best for me to take that photo. I have found it's pretty unlikely that I take many good photos on my very first day in a new city. I might get a few, but usually what I'm doing is making a list of things that I need to come back to the next day at a certain time to get the best light. So the second day is when I start to get some good photos, and between visiting the subjects from the first day, I'm also exploring new areas and making lists of subjects or targets for the third day. So this means I've always got a growing list of subjects and places to visit. Sometimes, if the subject is a car, I have to go back and visit lots of times, because every time I go to see it, there's a truck or a car parked right next to it, which makes a photo either impossible or just not great. So you can see how by using this method, you'll end up with a never-ending list of daily targets to photograph. Hopefully, if the weather cooperates, you'll get most of them. I chose December because I had done some research and learned that that was a pretty good time of year in terms of getting mostly sunshine, and indeed I did get mostly sunny blue sky days on every day except one. I'm going to show you a few more black and white film photos that I took now. I developed these here in my apartment and scanned them using a high resolution film dedicated scanner that captures all of the grain and beautiful texture of the film. Here I am in a taxi ascending the big hill up to San Cristobal, which is there's a big cross at the top of a very big hill, and it's like a small mountain really, and from up here you get a fantastic view of Lima. I timed it to get up there late afternoon, and I was pretty much on time, although a little bit late, because it was actually very difficult to find a taxi driver who would take me up there. I had heard that there was a tourist bus that would take you up there, and it was supposed to leave from one of the main squares, but that wasn't happening for whatever reason. So I went out into the streets and I started flagging down taxis. Now I've flagged lots of taxis while I was there and never had an issue. They were always very friendly, very cheap. But this time when I told them I wanted to go up the top of the hill and then have them wait for me and drive me back down, none of them wanted to do it. Most of them just said no, it was too dangerous, they don't want to do it. And eventually I found a guy. I think it was the 5th or the 6th taxi that I flagged down, and this guy said yep, he would do it, and he was pretty great. He took me up there. I was videoing the whole way, and when we got to the top, yeah, it's pretty dodgy up there. I would definitely feel a little uncomfortable if I was by myself. There was a lot of local dudes up there drinking and partying. I mean, pretty rough looking dudes. And it's clearly not a tourist destination. There's trash everywhere up there. There is a small like kiosk, you can buy soft drinks and chips and whatever, but I was definitely the only tourist up there, and I was getting a lot of looks from these dudes. Yeah, I'd like to think if I was by myself I could have sort of chatted with them and maybe had a beer, but I don't know. I mean, these guys looked rough as guts. So I was actually very happy to be there with my taxi driver. The view was great. I got a couple of good photos. We spent probably 10 minutes up there. It was getting a little bit late though. It was getting a little bit dark. As you can see, the photos are kind of low light, but you get an idea. And the view's fantastic. Righto, thanks for watching. Hey, don't forget I've got a new website now, so you can actually buy my photos if you like them. You can buy museum quality archival paper prints and get them shipped to pretty much any country in the world from my website, urbanfilmphotography.com. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. If you really liked it, you could even buy me a coffee. If you did that, you would be legendary. Alright, we'll see you next time. Cheers!